Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Homeschool Minnesota. So today we are doing a very special session, a very special episode. And our episode today is on what's happening in the state capitol right now in St. Paul, in Minnesota. There are bills. There's always a bill, isn't there, Angie? It
Yes,
feels
and there's a
like there's
pile of them.
always a bill. Every year, here we are.
Right.
These ones in particular, though, we wanted to bring to you. I have with me Angie Gallagher from Minnesotans for Health and Parental Rights and parentalrights.org. She is going to be talking to us about these bills. We're going to be talking with each other about them. By now, those of you who are listening have gotten the Homeschool Minnesota MÂCHÉ legislative alert on these bills, asking for you to act now in regards to these bills. So if you have not read them, go ahead and do that. Read the alert that you just got in your email inbox. If you did not get the alert in your inbox, that means you are not a subscriber in MÂCHÉ, and that means you need to get to www.homeschoolminnesota.org and sign up as a subscribing member at the very least, because then you will get these. And this is super important to do that because then you know what's going on. But we're going to be talking about this. But first, I just want to welcome Angie Gallagher to our show. Hi, Angie.
Hi.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and then a little bit about Minnesotans for Health and Parental Rights and parentalrights.org?
Sure. Well, my name is Angie Gallagher. I'm actually a 20-year homeschool mom myself of 5 kids, including a special needs daughter that's 16 now. About 13 years ago, I started becoming a little bit more politically active, realizing that bills were filing and they would affect my rights to parent my children at home, even as a homeschooler. I'd already been getting connected with local communities and mom groups and things like that to help be some more supportive in my journey as a homeschool mom, but and a mom of so many and special needs. But then things started filing at the Capitol, and I realized that a lot of those things you can't take for granted. And, you need to be a little bit more politically active to make this government work and protect your families. So a number of families in our community, a lot of them special needs parents, a lot of them more naturally minded parents, a lot of them, just wanting to become more educated and engaged on the process, got together and started going to the Capitol every year. We would go and we'd rent a room and we'd go talk to our lawmakers. And then as some more serious bills were filing, we started having rallies every year. So that's been about 8 years now. We've had the annual rallies. And we formed Minnesotans for Health and Parental Rights, which is a pair of nonprofits. We have a 501c3 and a C4 so that we can do the educational piece and the, a little bit more legislation focused stuff as well. In doing all that, we didn't have a lot of tools for some stuff. So we ended up connecting with parentalrights.org, which is a national organization that has been active for, I'm not sure how many years, probably several decades. And
Yeah,
they've
it's been
been
a
working
while.
on trying to amend the U.S. Constitution to bring back parental rights as more of a standard of practice legally, constitutionally. It had been assumed for a long time, and more recent court things in the early 2000s started making that a little bit more up to the discretion of the judges.
Yeah.
So they've been working on that for a long time too. But yeah, we've, done a lot of community building and a lot of just building relationships with our lawmakers so that we can be part of the government instead of just subject to whatever they end up passing in the end of it.
Well, and that's what we're supposed to do as good citizens. We are the
Mm.
government, actually. If we can
Right.
remember that those of us who are the voters, even though we aren't sitting in the seats, we are actually the government, and we get to
Right.
decide, and we get to have a voice. And we live in a country where that's just been taken for granted. I think I did. I took it for granted for
Yeah.
years. And like you said, we took our parental rights for granted for years too, until we started seeing all these assaults. And we're like, where is this coming from? As if it's coming out of left field. But really, if you look back, it's just been a general, gradual, just kind of falling asleep of people just kind of getting into their life. And little by little, things have been stripped away. And we've just been like, well, that's not such a big deal. Well, that's not such a big deal. And now here we are.
And someone else will handle it. I don't
And
have
somebody else will
doing.
handle it. I don't
Yep.
have the time. I don't
Yeah.
have the time. And then unfortunately it gets to the point where it's like, well, you didn't have the time and now here we are. You know, I
Right.
mean, that's where I was. I know for me that's exactly how I felt too. It's like, well, I just don't have the time to deal with that. Or for me, I was out of the country. Well, it doesn't affect me. I don't even live there. But it
Right.
affects me.
When you come
So
back.
I live there now, and my
Yeah.
kids do too, and my grandkids. So anyways, we want to talk about the bills that are going through the House right now.
Mhm.
We have Senate File 3439, which would remove, and I'm reading this from our legislative alert, so which would remove the conscientious exemption for the MMR vaccine, the measles, mumps, and rubella vaccine, and it has passed out of the Senate Health and Human Services Committee and goes to the full Senate. It
I think
just
it goes to the Education Policy Committee first.
Education policy. That's right. Yes, that was an amendment that was made in your alert, it'll say that.
Right.
It didn't say that in this
No,
copy of the alert that I got
sure.
last night. But anyway, yeah, so it goes to the Education Policy Committee because why does it affect, um, education?
Because removing basically it would add a section to the current immunization statute that has a section for conscientious exemptions already, where you would notarize a statement of your choosing or the state statement if you prefer,
Mhm.
that says you conscientiously object to one or more of the doses that are required for school, but it affects it more strongly than any other state in the country because our immunization statute also affects homeschoolers. Further down in subdivision 8, it says the homeschoolers have to submit the same documentation that the
Yeah,
rest of the daycare and school children have to. And even in the definitions, if you go down to subdivision 9, it defines a school of what a prime or elementary and secondary school is, and it says that that includes homeschool.
yeah, yeah.
So it affects all of us. And there's
Mm.
even debate among the legislators in the hearing yesterday. Kept saying, "Oh, that we're not trying to do this to homeschoolers," and I'm just like, it says it though.
But it's in the law.
And
Yeah.
they look at the bill too, and when you look at a bill online, it'll show the current passage of the law, and then
Mhm.
underlined will be an addition, or strike throughs will be things they want to remove. And so they'll just put a snippet of the law. So when you look at the bill, you don't see subdivision 8, 9, all the other subdivisions that talk about homeschooling. So they think it doesn't apply to homeschooling. But if
Mhm.
you look at the entire text and look at subdivision 8, subdivision 9, it does. And
Yes.
unless they address those, it affects everybody, every
Yeah.
educational option that exists in Minnesota.
So potential fallout, Angie, if we
Mhm.
let's say this passes and it goes into effect, um, what does that look like then in our October 1st reporting for those families that are conscientious exemptions that use that? What does that look like for them when they go to file their October 1st reporting, where they need to, a couple of different times during your homeschool
Mhm.
journey, you need to file either your initial immunization records or exemption or an updated version of that once they
Mhm.
turn 12 or go into seventh grade, depending on your child's age and whatever they do. What is it that you need to? How would that affect your basic homeschooler,
So in the bill language, it says it
or
would go into
could it
effect
affect
August of this year. So it would affect this
this
October's
year?
reporting period.
Yep.
And how they would implement that is pretty unclear because no other state has implemented such a thing on a homeschooler.
Hmm.
Even California, even New York, even the most extreme states that removed exemptions in the height of all of this years ago, homeschoolers are exempt, so they didn't have to do that. So what they would do is kind of unprecedented. Just looking at the text, it's also unclear whether everybody would have to start submitting or whether it would be the next checkpoint. So, like, if you had already registered, do you have to submit that thing again until seventh grade? Or if
Hmm.
you have a seventh grader, do you have to submit it at all
Yeah.
because you're past that checkpoint? It's not clear in the bill what you would do. Hopefully, the checkpoints would still be there. So if you already met one, you'd be okay till the next one.
Yeah.
But barring that aspect of it, we would have to either get the MMR or move, or the third option, we're actually talking with several different constitutional law nonprofits about what legal avenues we would have to sue, kind of like they did with the PSEO requirements that were
PSEO.
passed under
Yeah.
the trifecta. They sued, it got stayed so that it didn't get implemented while the court was looking at it. And then it eventually got overturned by the court.
Yeah.
we would hope if it got that far that would be the same path we could follow, that we could sue, get a stay so that it wouldn't be implemented in the fall, bring it to the courts, hopefully bring it to the higher courts if necessary. Nobody knows what could happen exactly. We are in a time that is both
Yeah.
very scary and very different than a lot of the other times that mandates have filed. Like in California and all the other ones, they didn't have an administration that was quite so favorable. We have a Supreme Court that ideologically should be on our side. So that's the avenue we would take. But obviously, we don't want to have to go that far.
Well, for
And
now,
nothing.
it's on our side, but things change so quickly in our
Yeah.
country.
And court
It's
takes a
like
long time. So
it
does
it
it
can
get
take
through
years to
things?
get there, and by
Yeah.
then, they may not be, and
Yeah.
that could change everything. And that doesn't and just because it gets a stay and we're like, "Whew, okay, dodged a bullet. Now we
It's
can just
not
go about
okay.
business as usual." You know, I think about when you're the family that is gonna be the poster child for this, what stress are you put under? What strain are you put under? What does that do to you and your children and your family and your homeschool and your ability to this is just a really big deal.
Yeah.
Um, and when I think about, like, we don't know, like Angie says, the scary thing about this bill is, well, how is it gonna affect me? That's the thing. It could be anything or
Yeah.
nothing. That's what's not good, is that there is no clear cut and dried of, if you don't get the
Mm.
MMR, then this is going to happen. Or
Like,
if you get
yeah,
it, yeah, and
legally, you could be considered not registered.
compliant.
And then
That's
is your child not being educated under Minnesota law? Then is there an
mm,
educational neglect path through CPS? I mean, that's the most extreme route that it could go.
it could take. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's not out of the realm of possibility. It really isn't. And that could be as quickly as this fall.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a big one, you guys. We want to get on that one.
Because
And
it's
then
moving and it has a lot of Democrat authors. We've never
it
had,
does.
usually it's just like one person or two people.
And
This has a full slate of authors, so they're
and can you
interested.
remind us what the ratio is in the legislature right now in the House and Senate?
So the Senate, the Democrats have a 1-seat lead.
Mhm.
And in the House, it's a tie. So in the
So it takes
House,
one person in the House,
and we
one,
lose the bill.
to come
Yeah.
over and be like, "Yeah, yeah."
Not such a big
So
deal. It's just the MMR, and then but it's not just.
it's not just. It's a parental rights issue. We wanna remember that. And like I
Yeah.
said, even if you're somebody who is like, "But I don't use the conscientious exemption." That's today's issue, guys. I mean, we've seen what happens. It snowballs very quickly, doesn't it? And that's today's issue. Tomorrow, the issue might be something that does affect you directly. And here's the thing, we're a community. It's a parental rights issue. And so the fact that it maybe doesn't directly affect your family doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you. We're a
Or that doesn't
community.
affect a family in your co-op or in your church or
Your neighbor, your
what?
sister,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Your
mean,
nieces and nephews,
yep, it's a
it could
big
be an
deal.
issue.
It's a big deal, and it's a parental rights thing. We need to stand up for that for
Right.
our own family. And then, of course, the House, bill is the companion bill is 3239, so those are the 2 bill that the same basic thing. Um,
Okay.
so then we're also going to be talking today about Senate File 4458. We're both looking at our stuff to make sure we've got it correct. Look at us. If you're looking at watching this on YouTube, we're on our phones. Sorry about that, but that's just the way it is today. Which would eliminate the conscientious exemption for all vaccines. It was introduced yesterday and referred to the Senate Education Policy Committee.
Mhm.
So, can you talk a little bit about that bill?
So that one is basically a delete bill, and it would just go in and delete the conscientious exemption from existing statute. And again,
Mm,
because our homeschools are defined in the law as the same as a public and private school, it
yep.
would apply to all homeschoolers. And that means that any immunization on the recommended school schedule you would have to turn in records or move or follow the same thing that we just discussed with the MMR. Only it won't just be the MMR. It would be the DTP. It could be the polio. It could be anything they add to the meningitis that they added to the junior hires.
Yeah.
It, I'm trying to think of all the updated TDAP, which is in junior high.
Yeah.
It could be and it could be the future. It could be if they add HPV, which is a sexually transmitted disease, and a lot of people don't do that even when they
It's
fully vaccinate.
recommended, but it's not
But it's not on the school
required.
schedule.
Right,
But it
right.
could be at any point.
But we've
It could
also
be.
gotten, yeah, and last fall, if some of our homeschool families are listening, some of them received notifications from their high schools about, is it meningitis, the
Mhm.
meningitis vaccine that their 18-year-old, they need proof that their 18-year-old has been immunized against meningitis in order to remain, well, which is interesting because you are no longer required unless your child's in PSEO to report
To
your
even
child to
report.
your
Yeah.
district, but they were sending letters and being kind of aggressive with some families about that. And yeah, and so this is where we're at. That's another one that they like to make sure you have. And so if
Right.
you're somebody who is a, like, again, a conscientious exemptor of a conscientious exemption, um, of vaccines, then this is something that is going to affect you directly. But it also, like I said, will affect those
Mhm.
um, who are not, uh, exempters, because using the exemption, because, like, again, we're a community and it does
Mhm.
affect us.
I
Um
did wanna mention that also, there's a shorter list than the CDC list for what's required for school in Minnesota,
mhm,
but at one point, they made it to where the commissioner of health could use rulemaking authority to add more. So there's a whole like publish and then take comments, but then they just add things more. So even if the things that they do now are okay, maybe you don't agree with adding some of the others. They also have a bill this year that was heard yesterday, in the same hearing as the MMR bill, that would remove even the rulemaking process from the commissioner of health and allow him to just decide, him or her to just decide what is the schedule without any vote, without any rulemaking, without any input. So if that also passes, which it was in the hearing as well, um, it could be anything.
yeah, yeah.
And
And
maybe
that's
we
and that's a Yeah, that's a problem, right, Angie? Because even those who vaccinate, sometimes they do a slow rollout. They don't vaccinate
Mhm.
on the schedule, or maybe they choose, gosh, I don't want to use that one, like, or whatever. They choose to for whatever reason, like,
Or
well, I
maybe
don't
they don't
want to,
want the flu or the COVID one every
or
year
the HPV,
or
or
the
the,
HPV.
whatever. I mean, they choose to not do those, or the chicken pox. I think
Mhm.
it's varicella is what it's called, or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, they don't want to do those. Um, and that
It
would
takes
take
an
away your
exemption
right
off
to
on
even,
even one of them.
yeah,
So when you see, like, exemption rates,
yeah,
it's not necessarily that that's how many people don't have any. That's how many
yeah,
people have decided to opt out of just one,
one. Yeah.
you know?
So, yeah, so these are big deals, people. So this is why we're talking today. We are encouraging you, Homeschool Minnesota MÂCHÉ, Minnesotans for
Mhm.
Health and Parental Rights, are urging you guys to get involved, all of us across the board. So, what are some things that we can do to get involved? When we say get involved, what do we talk about? Well, we're talking about, of course, your typical emails, phone calls, great. But we are asking you to do something a little more than that. What are some ideas? Angie, what would you guys at Minnesotans for Health and Parental Rights, what would you say to get
Well,
involved?
we both, your organization and ours, started as a community and is a
Yeah.
community primarily. Like we don't exist because we like going to the Capitol.
No,
We
nobody
exist
enjoys
because
parking in St. Paul, guys.
no, none of us are paid to do this, so
No,
we're not making money off of this. This is
volunteers.
personal time. This is
Yep.
personal time away from family. So because we're community based, one of the things that's been most effective is bringing that community to St. Paul or bringing that community to your legislator,
Mhm.
getting to know them in your community. A lot of them will hold like coffee dates or in district things where you can show up and you can talk to them, or town halls, you can talk to them and follow them on social medias, and you can comment on the things that you agree with and you can be respectful about the things you might
Yes.
not. The more they see your name, your face, your profile picture, your face at different events, the more they connect it less with politics and more with the community and people
Mm,
that are involved. If you have time and writing handwritten notes or cards,
yeah.
pictures that your kids drew or a picture of your family,
Mhm.
Going to the Capitol sounds super duper intimidating. Like,
Yeah.
back when I started over a decade ago, I'm like shaking and thinking this is like testifying before Congress in DC or something. And it's like, you're going to be in front of everybody,
You're on
but
you're
it's
on C-SPAN.
right. It's terrifying. This isn't what you want to be doing. You want to go home and make a craft with your kids. Like, you don't want to do
Right.
this.
No, no.
But once you get there, once you try it, it can be pretty cool. Like for the
Yeah.
kids, it's like a really cool like field trip to like check out the cool buildings and the offices. And for the adults, it's like you get to see the people in their element. And at first, it's still kind of scary. Like they're all in suits, right? They're intimidating looking. But once you get more, involved in the community side or with seeing them multiple times, you realize they're just a teacher, they're just a doctor, they're just the farmer, they're just the store owner or your waitress. Like
Yep.
they're people just like you.
Yeah.
And the more you do that, the more they see you as just a person, like not just a political email, but you're just
Right.
a person like them too. And that's pretty effective. And that's not to be manipulative. That's to be like the government should be more personal, and we can do
It
that.
it was set up that way, guys. It was set
Mhm.
up that way. It was meant to be something that we did that was interactive. It was
Mhm.
meant to be that not every American can easily have a voice in every single bill. Like they can't write a bill and then pass
Right.
it around to everybody in the country to have a say in. um, it just would nothing would ever get done. So that's why we elect representatives. We're a representative republic, actually. When they say democracy,
Right.
we're actually a representative republic. That's what we're
And it's
meant
a
to
good
be.
thing we're not a direct democracy.
It is. Mob rule is never a pretty thing. That's what happened with
Right.
Rome, right? Do your history. If you're a homeschooler, you know.
Well, even in the hearing yesterday, one of the senators talked about the tyranny of the majority. A direct
Yeah.
democracy could vote away people's rights, but we don't
Yeah.
operate that way.
And then the rest of us don't get a voice, but our rights are being taken. It's like that line in Star Wars where it's like, so this is how democracy dies. Yeah. Anyway, it was dead when it became a democracy. Anyway, but
Yep.
that's not even what we're talking about today. Backtrack. All right. So yes, making it personal. Here's the thing. It's really easy to vote when it's just a bill and it just is a number of people that I represent, and who is it even going to affect anyway? And I mean, I'm sure there's not that many who are going to be affected by this, but it's harder when they've seen a picture of your family, they have drawings that your kids have made them, or a letter that your child has written to them, or you've been in their office and your kids have been like, thank you, and like, ask them really good questions. They've had a fun interaction with your family. All of a sudden that gets in their head. Like, oh, and we're not, like you said, we're not doing it to be manipulative. That's the process. It was meant to be that they think of you when they go to vote for these things. That is the
Mhm.
way it's supposed to be. We're just bringing back the way it's supposed to be. We're just living the way it is. And so we want you guys, yeah, get in there. Are we calling you down to the Capitol in a mass rally? Well, not yet.
Maybe. We'll
Not
see.
yet, but keep
Checking.
your eyes open, you never know. But for now, it just really would be great if snail mail got a revival and things just hit St. Paul like crazy, and there was just loads of like handwritten letters, handwritten cards, drawings from your kids. Hey, we're praying for you. We are so thankful for your service. Even if these are people that you don't agree with at all, doesn't matter. They stepped up. They ran for office. So we want to thank them for their service. Now we're going to hold you accountable to the things that are important to us. And we just want to
Mhm.
remind you that we live in your district and this is a really big deal to our family. Here's how it could affect us. And we just
Mhm.
want you to know that when you pass this, there are real consequences that a lot of us have to live out, and it affects our kids. And this is why this is important to us. And so we would
Mhm.
love for you guys to just start getting in there, make it a school project. Your kids got to learn to write a letter. It's not all about email all the time. Handwriting, writing a letter, get it done. You guys are home. If you're listening to this and you're a homeschooler, you got time. do it. Do it. That'll be your language arts for the day. We're going to write a letter, and then fine arts, we're going to draw a picture. You know, so we're going to cover 2 subjects in one day, doing one thing and making a difference in our, and then citizenship, government. You've got so many subjects covered there, you guys. I mean, you're welcome. That's like, you know, a full
And
day's
you'll already
curriculum right
be
there.
a
Yeah.
step ahead
Throw
of what public schools do
exactly.
because they don't do this.
Yeah, they can do it too. If your kids
Mhm,
aren't homeschooled, do it anyway. If you are a conscientious use the conscientious exemption, do it. If you don't, do it anyway.
mhm,
Stand up for the parental rights of those your neighbors, your friends, because the thing is that tomorrow it could be you. And we say that, and I know that it's real easy to just kind of go, but it isn't me, and I'm so busy. Please do it anyway.
mhm.
It's really, really important. Yeah, so the fallout could be not good if this
Significant,
passes.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
and we're watching the homeschool bills too because, like you said, it's not
yes.
just about vaccines, it's not just about a
No,
doctor's appointment,
no.
They definitely have ideas about what homeschooling should look like too, and that's
Yeah,
how we all stick together and make a
yep,
difference and make sure they realize that there's a face behind all these policies that they think they can
yep,
just come in and decide that they need to oversee as a state. We've
yeah,
got it. We can take it,
yeah. You know, God gave us our kids, He gave them to us. And
Mm,
while we appreciate government for its role and what it's supposed to do, which
mhm,
is, you know, maintain our safety, maintain our freedoms, make sure that we're being governed well and that, you know, our state runs well. We're thankful for that. Stay in your lane. This is a parental rights thing. We will parent our children, and we appreciate you, but we got this. So yes, we just want to thank you guys. Do you have any last words you want to say, Angie? Anything you want to tell anybody?
I think you pretty much covered it.
Yeah,
We just want to keep engaged and build that relationship out because ultimately the government's going to do what we build it to do.
yeah,
And it doesn't have to be a major commitment, but it does require a little bit of effort, a little bit
yes,
of engagement. And as scary it is, it's more of a relationship and befriending, somebody that's serving us. So we can
yeah.
do that.
We don't have to act in fear. We don't, and
Mhm,
we don't want to respond emotionally. We want to be measured and kind, but direct. None of
mhm.
this Minnesotan passive aggressive. We want to say what we mean. We don't have time for passive aggressive, guys. You gotta, you know, gird up here and just say it. So yeah, we're gonna do this. And so we're just super excited and grateful for Minnesotans for Health and Parental Rights, you guys. Thank you so much for standing up for this. Thank you so much for coming alongside Homeschool Minnesota MÂCHÉ. We, like I said, you know, in a post that we put on Facebook recently, you know, we defer to them when it comes to parental rights health issues. And they generally, you know, look at us and go, well, this is an educational homeschooling issue. But
And how
this is
can we help?
both. Yeah. And this is both, guys. So we're
Yeah.
going to come at it from both directions. They aren't going to know what hit them.
A
We're
lot of
getting
homeschool
everybody
families.
involved
Yeah.
this time. So, yeah. So thank you guys so much for what you do. Thank you, Angie, for, and make sure you tell everybody over there that we pray for you guys. We're so grateful for you. Thank you guys for standing up for parental rights in the state of Minnesota. It has not been easy the last few years, and we're just really
No.
grateful for you guys. And, yeah, just thank you so much for doing that. And, for being faithful and for being a presence in the Capitol, a presence in the government, and we're just thankful for that. And then you guys, you know, doing that has allowed everybody else to just kind of go, okay, this is going to be taking, you know, but when we call you guys to action, we really mean it. You know, so
Right.
when we do this, it's important.
Well,
So
and we have
yeah.
to remember also, like, we're just homeschool parents or
Yep.
practitioners or teachers or whatever too. This
Yep.
isn't our job. Like, anything
Mm-mm.
that happens is time we've taken from our families, and what we do doesn't mean much if they don't see it from you too. Like, we're
Yeah.
just a couple people. You're thousands, you know?
They need to hear the numbers this time, you
And
guys.
we did still go down to the Capitol on the day that we were all supposed to have our rally, and that was the number one thing they kept saying is like, "Wow, we miss the families. We miss seeing them. We miss having people
Yeah.
here."
It would have been
And
a big day, wouldn't have? Oh, I'm so
ugh,
sad that didn't happen. We were gonna do a joint one if you all remember,
mhm,
and yeah, it would it I love Capitol Day, so it just
But we
makes me
can still
sad
reach
that it
out.
didn't.
We can still talk to them. We can still email.
Absolutely.
And I think they're looking for that and they enjoy it. At least most of them do.
To my co-op friends, listen, just because we didn't do Capital Day in February, you can still get your co-op together. This is a really good
Mhm.
opportunity. Get yourselves down to the Capitol. Make it a
Yeah.
field trip day. Plan it, organize it. I know it's inconvenient. I know it's snowy and cold. I know that parking is a nightmare. I know. But
It's
guys,
warming up and
this
we've got maps. So
yeah,
it's not so
yeah.
bad.
This is really, really important. If you go on MÂCHÉ, we've got information there. I know Minnesotans for Health
Mhm.
and Parental Rights. All the links will be in the description of this podcast. There will be no excuses. We don't want to hear them. Yeah, so we're super, super grateful you guys took the time to listen to us today.
Yeah.
This is very, very important. Please get out there. Please, guys, your kids need to see this. Imagine
Mhm.
if we're facing this now, imagine what they will be facing when they're parents. If we
And you can
don't
show them
set
how to
them
do
up
it.
for success, in these areas, what are they going to have to deal with when they want to be parents, when they want to choose how they want their kids to be raised, when they want to educate their kids? What are they going to have to overcome? They need to see us doing this so they know how to do it, but also they need to see us do it so that later on when they're parents, they're going to go, my mom fought for this. I remember my mom and dad fighting for this. Man, I wasn't thankful then, but I'm so thankful now. So guys, it's like a legacy thing. It really does pay it forward. And we really, really need you guys to get out there and get going on it. And phone calls, emails, great. That if that's what you can do, we're grateful. But man, do that extra thing. Take those extra steps. Get out of your comfort zone. Do something crazy if you have to. Get down to that Capitol and make an appointment beforehand. Don't get down there and think you can just get in with your legislator. On
Sometimes
the
you
fly.
can, but you might
Sometimes you
not.
can, but don't be disappointed if you can't. You can hand deliver the letter if you want to and say, we just thought we'd take a chance to see if he was here, but if he's not or she's not, that's fine. We got this for them and we just want to say thank you to them. And don't forget their legislative assistants, guys. Those people are the gatekeepers. If you want to make sure that that letter gets right to the hands of,
Mhm.
you make sure you bring them like a Diet Coke or something.
We did that actually when we went down on that day that we were
Yeah.
supposed to be there. The kids walked around with buckets of candy because it was just
Yeah.
like around Valentine's Day week, and they handed out candy to all the legislative assistants and
Yep. Yep.
smiled, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is great,"
Yeah, we
little
brought
kids.
cookies. It was wonderful. They
Yeah,
were so happy and they're the ones like again, they're the gatekeepers, so they're the ones that get the brunt sometimes of the anger, the frustration,
they answer that
the
phone.
yeah, they're the ones who have to deal with the nasty phone calls. They're the ones who have to read those really horrible emails. And yeah, little kindness goes a long way though. So we're really going to be we know you guys can do this. So we're going to
Mhm.
all work together. We're going to make sure that this does not get through and we're going to pray and ask God to just give us favor and we are going to read the legislative alerts that come out. We're going to be active on social media, even if it drives us crazy, because then we can see the updates so we can act for,
Just
how we're
log in and check
supposed
the
to. And
pages,
yep,
and
just
then
log in
yeah.
and do that. I don't like social media either. I get it. Um, and if there's a call to come down to the Capitol, guys, it means we need you there. So be prepared. That might happen. So anyways, thank you guys so much for listening to us. And thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you for your faithfulness. And we just appreciate you guys. Again, just do what you got to do. Thank you guys so much. Bye bye.